I know it'll kind of lead you on. All right, we are live on Facebook. I am so excited to introduce one of my dearest friends, Jessica Gallant. Jess and I have worked together for a number of years in a number of different companies, a number of different places, and we're just fast friends from the first time that we met. Jess is really a brand expert, a marketing expert. I think your title is creative director currently. Big
Yes.
fancy
Yep.
corporate title. So I'm so excited that you took a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to spend a little time with us, um, sharing what you do for companies and helping to distill that down to the individual entrepreneur and changes that they can make to their brand and social media to get a little more traction and maybe be a little less frustrated in 2024. So where are we starting today, Jessica?
So social media, it's changing all the time, and you got to keep up with the algorithms, and you've got to keep up with the trends. And I know it becomes super frustrating to try to find what's working. And so, in a sea of everyone trying to promote something these days and trying to stand out, I think one of the biggest um, pushes for 2024 should be authenticity. I know companies offer a lot of support within graphics and videos and things to repost, but honestly, people are looking for you. You are the storyteller. Your authentic self is really what people are looking towards to trust and to also get information about the product that you are working with, because a real story from somebody is so much more important in this day and age than trying to just go through the facts and all of that type of thing that's already out there. So you're seeing a lot of that right now. Everyone's trying to, put content out there that's more authentic, more true to them, more true to who you actually are, that will resonate with people, that people will be able to um, connect with on an emotional level. And then that gains their trust. And then that has them coming back for more to, engage in what else that you have going on that you want to share. Storytelling is another big one. So once you've engaged and know your audience, telling that story, telling that brand story, telling it in a way that resonates for you and your audience. That's not a stretch, but that's something that's easy for you to um, just talk about. Like Michelle and I will talk all the time, and we'll talk about trends or fashion or this or that. And we just talk like we're having a conversation. And that should be kind of how your social media should go. You need to also be able to what's the word I'm looking for? You need to also be able to just like engage with those people. Um, you can start by doing interesting content and creating good engagement. So a lot of times static images will be out there. You want to try to utilize those posts, those reels. You want to utilize your stories as much as possible. You want to be consistent in using your content so that people know that if they're going to come if they're going to come to your page, that you're at least going to post once a day. Twice a day would be better. You'll get to feel like when people are mostly going to be on and when you get the most engagement. And then once you see that trend, you should be able to continue that right along. So that way you know that you're getting those people that are coming back to your page, which will obviously get your views up more and it'll get more people to follow and like and all of those things. One of the other things that I see that's trending a lot right now is uh, videos. People are using a lot of their own videos when they're doing product. That's working really well. And also, when it comes to the static images, I know a lot of people, I know Canva is everybody's friend, and they like to like put all this content over the photos and put all this type. Use the post section to write all of your content when you're creating just a post. Don't put it over all the pictures because it just muddles um, that look, that aesthetic that you're trying to create on your Instagram page or your Facebook page. So use that content below to write all your copy, put a nice clean photo up of the product or of you using the product or whatever it is that you're trying to push. Back to the stories. Go ahead.
I've got a, I've got a question. So what you're saying, and static image for the rest of you, not in the industry, is just post images, graphic images.
Just post images.
Um,
Yep.
so you're saying, because the trend for a while was that whatever the big header was in the image is what was going to get people's attention. So now you're saying, don't do that, keep it clean.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean, especially in Instagram because it has such a grid that everyone comes to. Um, Say you decide that you want to use a filter. A lot of people like to use these filters. Pick one filter and stay with it for a while so that your grid all looks uniform with that same filter that you're using, if you're going to do that. Um,
Great tip.
yeah, because a lot of people, you'll see some pages that the colors are all different, they don't match, it just feels very disconnected. But if you're gonna do that, and even if you don't use a filter, try to like take a photo in the same sort of natural light consistently so that when they line up next to each other, they all look uniform. And it just makes it a little more appeasing to when you come to somebody's page and it's very clean. There's a a connection there when you go to like I could go to I don't know, Williams Sonoma, and then I could go to another brand and it'll be like chaos over there. And I'm like, oh, I love Williams Sonoma because it's just so beautiful and clean. So there's something to be said about that. Um, Also, people are using their stories and using their reels to promote interaction. So they could do a poll, they could do a quiz, they could live stream like you and I are doing right now. You definitely can do a giveaway, right? And you want to respond to your comments too. That's another big thing. Don't just post and then not interact with your customers and respond. So make sure that you're going back in and answering all of your comments. And then when it
So
comes to, go ahead.
you're talking a lot about you're flowing back and forth between Facebook and Instagram. And so like that is a nice aesthetic look on Instagram in the grid, it's beautiful. So I love that as a tip. And Facebook is a little bit different. People don't as often go to your page. They really kind of catch it in the feed. So you've got to stand out in the feed. So what advice do you have for just standing out in that Facebook feed?
In that Facebook feed, I would again, I would always stick with beautiful photography as much as you can, or I would utilize video because people are more apt to like catch a lot of the videos and the stories that are in Facebook now. I know that my husband, every night, I'm like, what are you doing over there? And he's over there on the videos, just watching different things. So that's where he likes to be. Um, and and he has all his favorites that he follows. So Facebook is a different animal. Instagram, especially if you're looking for a younger demographic right now, Instagram, TikTok, those are the big places that you'll find that younger demographic if that's what you're looking for to build your business, for sure. And then just being consistent in your actual graphics. So your imagery and your messaging, your brand messaging, try to keep that consistent and in line with what the company is also doing. So that way the messages don't get muddled. And hashtag, I know hashtags are like, are we still using them? Are we not using them? Use them. Use them so that people come back to your page. Fonts, colors. Michelle and I talk about this all the time. Fonts, I know there's a million of them that you can use, but pick one, two at the most, but pick one and stick with it and use it if you're going to write copy over those pictures, which again, I would only do that in like a story or a reel. I wouldn't do it in your post, like over the
And
post picture.
what are some of your favorite fonts? Because there are a million. You have a few rules of thumb when you're picking fonts. You want one of two of something and one of the other. I can never remember.
I try to stay away from scripty fonts just because they're hard to read, especially if you're just going so quickly and scrolling through. I usually stay with what I call a sans serif font, which is the font that doesn't have like a top. It's just a straight, like a Helvetica, a
Hmm.
straight font. I stay with those because they're easy and clean to read, and you can make them bold or unbold, but at least in the moment when you're passing through, you'll be able to read those quickly and catch what the message is.
Instagram has really does have such an aesthetic feel to it, and
It
it's
does.
different than over on Facebook. So on Instagram, you're talking about really clean images, maybe are a little artistically. Everyone's got a camera, play around with it a little bit.
Definitely.
On Facebook, it is a little it is a little bit different. And so I know the question we're going to get is, what do you mean don't put any images on your graphics like on Facebook? So you're not saying Instagram, you're saying don't, because that is an aesthetic
It
medium.
is.
On
It's
Facebook,
almost like a personal portfolio. That's kind of how I think of it. Facebook is a little bit different. I mean, I post pictures of my dog all the time without any rhyme or reason. But for a business standpoint, there you need a little bit more, especially if you have a closed group. And with the algorithm, you will need photos with some sort of catchy line or header, but just don't make it overwhelming. Like just whether it's a bubble on one side that might say the price of the product, or it's, from now until Monday, and then in the comment section, ask me for details, something like that. It's just very like simple. So that way they'll come back to you and they'll say, okay, I want to know more about this product. And that'll start your conversation going. And that's how you continue to grow your field base.
And pictures of your dogs are always good, right? People
Always.
love kids and dogs sell. And so, random pictures of your dogs, those should be going in your group, your closed group, or going on your page. Hey, here's my helper today at work. It doesn't always need to be about product.
No,
It can be that's authentic too.
absolutely. I mean, your entire business does not have to be about the product every single day. You should be showing other things that you do in your life that'll help people connect with you and understand who you are and understand your personal brand, basically. So whether you love cooking, like Michelle loves to cook, she sprinkles that in, or if you love just, crafting, and then also pepper in how that'll tie into some of the products that you're also offering. I mean, that works as well. You have to make it you. You have to make it to a place where people want to go to find out more and keep it interesting.
I think we're married. We are very married. Easy for me to say, to graphics, and that's kind of
Yeah.
almost an older way of doing things. Graphics are important. You need to kind of put that information out there sometimes, particularly in Facebook. But really, it is about videos and reels and lives. And we're live
It
on
is.
Facebook. You can go live straight from Instagram, which is fantastic, with someone or with someone else, varying it up. And people, I mean, I'll say what I'm seeing. I see people who are absolutely killing it or heavily utilizing video. Half of what their content is,
Yes.
or 75% of their content is video. And I know that scares some people listening, that they think I'm
Does.
camera shy. This isn't Jessica's favorite thing to do either, by the way, but she did
No.
it for me.
It's not. But the fun thing about Instagram, and I definitely do it all the time. Like I'll find some sort of Taylor Swift song or something to like marry in with my Instagram post for the day. And it also pushes out to Facebook. So it's one and done. You can do that in Instagram and you don't have to repost in Facebook because it'll automatically post to your Facebook page if they're connected, if you have them connected together. So it's almost like doing half the work and getting both platforms.
Absolutely. I'm just checking for questions. Yeah, and that's easy to set up so that you put it in one place, Instagram, and it'll push out for you.
And
And
always
if you're
put your link to your page as well, so that once you post that product, you can also have in the comments or even in your story, like, here's my link. And you can do that right through Instagram, which will push right back out to Facebook.
Instagram is, I've joked for years, it's Facebook 2.0, and it really is, but
It
it
is.
has some more robust tools than Facebook.
It
We
does.
say here on Facebook, we should have done this over on Instagram, but it does have more robust tools, filters, links in video, things like that, that are a little harder to get to in Facebook. So I think, Instagram's where all the cool kids hang out. So
That
what we
is,
do?
that is. My 7-year-old niece told me that Facebook is for old people.
Well,
I'm not
Facebook
that
is good for,
old,
yeah, I know, really not, but thanks, right?
apparently.
Um, I was going to say something else about video or stories. Oh, if you're petrified to get on video, the video doesn't have to be of you. It could be of you putting product in your hands. It could be of you, let's say you're with Pampered Chef. It can be of you mixing up a salad or, using the chopper or whatever. It
Absolutely.
doesn't.
And then set that to some fun music.
Right, right. So be creative in the video. If it scares you to death, the things that scare you to death are ultimately what are going to grow you and your brand and your business. But you can ease into that. You don't have to go live. I'll tell you, I remember probably 10 years ago, the first time I went live, just straight live on Facebook, and I had spoken in front of thousands of people. My palms were a little bit sweaty. It can be a little nerve-wracking the first time, but the 100th time, it's like no big deal. Unless you do it accidentally. And anyway, we won't get into that. But that's happened to all of us. But you can be creative in your video. It can be you setting your product out. It can be
Yeah.
unpacking a box, a recent shipment that you got in if you're really nervous to be in there. But put a little lipstick on, smile, and unpack a box. It can
Yep.
be so very simple. What
It
else are
is.
you
And it can
seeing that
be,
people?
um, what else am I seeing right now? People are really were at one point trying to make their photos so perfect, and that has kind of gone by the wayside. They want to see mistakes. They want to see the real, authentic you. And they're okay with, whoops, you dropped the camera, or, the spoon fell into the bowl, or whatever the case may be. It's okay. Like that's what they want to see. So that's a big trend right now. It's gone away from trying to have these perfectly posed, perfectly lighted photos to a little bit more messy and real.
A little more behind the scenes real. I love that because
Hmm.
social media is so not real. So it's
Right.
interesting that there's a move. It's probably still staged real. I will say that if you ever want 1,000 comments on a graphic, misspell a word in it. I mean, people are
Yep.
brutal, but all of that just helps. So just makes your page look better. So I'll just clarify for us too. So we have profiles um, on Instagram and Facebook. Those can be personal, or you can set that up as a professional profile. You have pages on Facebook, and we have groups on Facebook. And the rules kind of are the same. I think your personal profile is a lot more of everything about your life. Your groups should have something about your life to be interesting and authentic, and your page should be as well. People get really kind of confused between what do I put on a page? What do I put in a group? What do I, it's a lot the same thing on Facebook. And then Instagram is that pretty aesthetic
Instagram is
media.
still a beast in itself. Everyone, for the most part, is moved over to Instagram. It took me a while to get on there and say, okay, I'm not just going to scroll through, but I'm going to be a participant. And what does that look like? Because I'm not in my 20s and it's not as easy for me to do that as opposed to, the kids that are now just out there posting everything and anything. And, they get all kinds of, but that's how they're getting all kinds of likes and contents. They're just constantly working at it, constantly posting. And I think that that's something that you have to do for your business. You have to be consistent about constantly, at least once a day, twice a day, trying to find something to post and to help continue to put yourself out there, just like any other business would put themselves out there to get brand recognition.
And it can be really easy going back to color, which is Jessica and I both
Mhm.
love color. If you do anything bordering on fashion, home decor, anything, it all runs on color. So what are the color trends this year?
Well,
It's endless
yeah,
content.
exactly. I mean, we always look at Pantone to find out what the Pantone color of the year is going to be, and I think it's violet this year, right? Purple.
Yeah, there's
And
a peach
so
fuzz that's coming up.
yeah, and they change by the season, and so like there's been a big push for all things purple in this first quarter, from fashion to hair to clothing, like
Yeah.
purple. Cars,
Interior
yeah,
cars, everything. Yeah, those people at Pantone, whatever color you're wearing, Pantone picked it, whether you know it or not.
exactly.
And it is kind of universal. It touches everything, even packaging and products.
Packaging.
So let's say, yours doesn't have anything to do with color. It's a skincare product. What does that
Hmm.
packaging look like? And what do those campaigns look like? And not to mention, it's just nice to drop a little knowledge on someone and to say, hey,
Yeah,
did you know purple's the hot color of the year? Show me your favorite purple thing, or here's my, you know, favorite purple dress, or I snapped a picture the other night during the snowstorm, and it really wasn't, it was dark, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, but the sky, because of all the reflection of the snow, it was violet. It was a lavender sky, and I had this black tree in the middle of a lavender sky. It was just such a
it's
neat
beautiful. I
moment.
saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a lot of comments on that. That has nothing to do with anything except for
And
people like pretty.
you could have just said hashtag Pantone color of the year.
I didn't even think about it, Jessica. I could. You need
See?
to message me with these tips. That's so funny. So what else? Don't be afraid of video. I will say on authenticity that sometimes people take the word authenticity to mean raw. And if
Yeah.
that's your brand, go for it. But you don't want to do anything out of character on social media, just like you don't
No.
want to do anything out of character. And I sometimes see people like grabbing for the likes or the engagement to say something or do something that really isn't within their nature.
No, no, I agree with you there. I mean, you need to be you and not try so much, but in a way that's also comes through as you being real and having knowledge of your product that you're trying to sell, or just having knowledge of whatever it is that you're going to post about that day and feel like this is really you and not a persona of you or not, somebody else. Because if I was to meet you in real life, and there is that with social media with a lot of the influence that they act one way on social media, but then when you meet them in real life, they're a completely different person.
Right.
When trying to sell something to somebody, you want that to transition into who you are in everyday life, also who you are on camera right now, you know, so that
That
that trust
reminds
is built up there.
It reminds me of all the cut and paste that we see. It is notorious on Facebook is the worst offender in the world where you'll take someone's post and maybe they sell skincare or makeup or whatever, and you think, oh, I like that. And people just take it, cut and paste it into their own thing. It's not their words, it's not their vibe,
Yeah,
and then 1,000 people do it. So Facebook knows that. Facebook's algorithms are so, and Instagram too, because it's all the same company.
right.
They're so sophisticated. They know a cut and paste job. So they immediately go, because they're looking for creative content that is unique, that people haven't seen, that people are going to engage with. Because every minute they keep someone on their platform, you're inundated with ads and they're making money. And so they don't like that. It's unauthentic to who you are. It's lazy, and it's Facebook is not going to reward that behavior. So even you may see a great idea. What's that old saying? The sincerest form of flattery is imitation, which
Yes,
isn't plagiary, right? It's plagiarizing is what you're doing when you cut and paste
right.
that. But Facebook even has AI right now, and you can pop that text in there and change it around.
I was just going to talk about AI. I was going to say
Oh, see?
if you're not sure about what to post, and I just started using the AI a little bit. I was a little afraid of it. I felt like it was cheating in a way. But if you don't know what to post, you can go right into the chat GPT and say, hey, can you give me a week's worth of posts on this topic? And it'll spit out a week's worth of posts for you in 10 seconds or less. And then you can tweak them to sound more like you.
That's a
So
great tip.
that's a way to schedule out at least a week in advance if you're like really struggling to figure out, all right, what am I going to say today? You can set that up so that it'll at least post 4 or 5 days for you
Yeah, you can
until you
ask it for
decide.
health tips, and it'll
Yep,
literally give you health tips. And so
it
there's
will.
just so much help there where you don't have to steal and cut and paste
Hmm.
and imitate other people. You can create your own brand with your own vibe and your own topics and ideas.
And
I
it
think people
creates
know that.
graphics for you as well. I've not really dabbled into that too much, although it did make a really good uh, rendering of my dog, which was a little scary. But yeah, yeah, it's pretty on point.
In Chat GPT or Chat GP, or where'd you do the dog rendering?
I did it in my Adobe software. I wanted to see
Oh,
what it would do. And I gave it the details of what the breed was and what color he was. And it made a whole children's story about my puppy.
oh my goodness. I know Canva's not your favorite because you're an actual graphic designer, but Canva's got a lot of nice tools in it as well.
It
So you check
does.
those out.
It does. I have used it in the past for clients, especially ones that need to be able to edit their own after the fact. You can definitely set up templates and they're easy to switch out. They have so many options. You just need to, again, make it a little bit more you as opposed to just taking a template and putting some copy on it. Just think
So how
about
do
those
you
colors and those fonts that you're using. And the theme. If you pick a theme in Canva, why not stay with that theme for a week? so that it all looks uniform.
And when you say theme, what do you mean? I click one and it'll show me other things that look and feel like that, or?
The same background, the same background. Like pick a background that feels like the brand or the company that you're working with and color wise, and then maybe stay with that template for a week or two. So that way there's a consistency there.
And so your advice for people, let's say someone came to you and you do this, people can come to you and you can take care of, create a whole brand for them.
Mhm.
Um, they don't know where to start. You're going to help them. Like, how do you help someone start with colors? Let's say they work for a company, that's got brand colors. Are you going to help them weave that into their personal brand?
Yes. Yes, because the biggest working with a lot of corporate companies, their biggest complaint is that when the field gets a hold of the graphics, they kind of go rogue, right? They don't look like the company that they're working for. So yes, I would go to that company. I would find out what their brand colors are, and then I would incorporate those brand colors into that person's personal social media. But I would also put on their website. Maybe they have their team logo, something like that. I would incorporate into that so that it would still feel like that company, but it was their own personal brand.
Which I think is really important because let's say there's 10,000 people with your company, you have to figure out how to stand out, and strictly using corporate graphics is not going to get you there. And then throwing
No.
in a hodgepodge of graphics from other places just kind of looks like a mess. And then there's no
Yeah.
story. It's just
Right.
chaos.
Right. And with 10,000 people all using the same graphic and sharing it across all platforms, Facebook isn't a fan, and a lot of times they'll put you in Facebook jail or shut you off for a little while, and nobody wants that.
Yeah,
So,
they'll just downgrade your visibility. They pick
yeah.
who sees your stuff. And so you've got to work a little harder than
Mhm.
we ever had to before to be seen. And I think people are still stuck in the times when you would post something and everyone, 50% of your followers or your friends would see that. It's not. I don't even know what it is right now. It's less than 10% on your personal profile. It's
Even when
terrible.
you're posting pictures, a lot of people don't even think about it. But like skincare, for example, if you're holding a bottle, make sure the name of the company is facing the camera. People don't realize that, it might be turned. Or if you're taking a picture, make sure that the logo of the company is within that picture, so people know who you're representing.
Right. Yeah, I think we could talk camera tricks all day long because Jessica does
Yeah.
catalogs for companies. So she usually oversees the photo shoot. I've been on a few. That's kind of fun. Anything else for people just really, because what I hear people say is they're so frustrated. They're just struggling to be seen. They feel like they're posting and posting and posting. And they're getting nothing back out of it. I think part of it is the content that they're posting and the look and the feel of it. What else? You said
I
follow
think
up
that
on
has
comments.
follow up on comments, know your audience, keep posting. The biggest time people look at their phone first thing in the morning and after work. During the day, people are not really on as much. So probably the key times for you to post would be earlier in the morning and then after dinner, where everybody is just home and able to look at all of that. That's the biggest like time when I'm looking at the social media and gets the most views.
Yeah, women are 8 to 10 o'clock midnight,
Yeah.
depending on the time zone. And if you have a page, you have the metrics that you can go in and look at. If you link your group, here's a great tip for social media. Pages are still important. No, no one goes to them, but they give you some options versus just
Right.
a personal group that isn't attached. If your group is linked to your page, you can go in and look at the metrics too. When people are on, what's the demographic, what do they look at most, all that stuff. And you can get a creator profile, a personal profile. You can take your Facebook profile and you can turn it into a personal one, and then you get insights on your personal page too. And Facebook will tell you all that stuff. When are your people on? What were they most engaged with?
I
Things like
have
that.
friends who will only post video. They will not post static images because video is moving. People like moving content. It draws you in, makes you stop and be like, what are these people doing? Are they doing a new dance or are they cooking a new recipe? So video, video, video is the biggest, like even if it's 5 seconds, you know,
Yeah.
that it
And we've got
still gets,
lives,
and yep,
lives,
and
reels, and
lives.
stories. Yes, you've
Mhm.
got 3 video options for you. I think people get nervous about that. What's a reel, what's a live, and what's a
And you don't have to do it alone. Like if you're on a team, go to your friend's house and do one together, and do a party with somebody and do your unboxing together. You don't have to always have just you or just part of you. Like I see people all the time, they're out there on their teams and they're like having a party and they have 4 or 5 of their people on their team all together and they're all having a good time. They, show them having lunch together, team meetings, and then just the other fun things that they do with their kids. Or maybe they all went for coffee together and that's fun too. And then you can tag your friends and then it reaches out to their friends. And then that just grows your everybody's business all together.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree. Video is king, which is nice because I get sick of making graphics. And videos are easy. They can be spontaneous. They can be short. They can, doesn't even have to be of you. So, all right. Colors. And I'm looking to see if we have any questions. I know we're midday here, so I'm looking to see if there's any questions we can answer. I don't see any right now, but we'll keep an eye on the replay and you can ask, we'll play Ask Jess. Anything else? Thanks so much for coming on and taking a little
You're
time to be part of
welcome.
this series with me. It means a lot to me because I wanted to bring some fresh, fun topics to people that can really help them grow in 2024. We'll put Jessica's information down below if you happen to be in the need of a logo, if you feel like I don't know what my personal brand is, and we may do some deeper dives in the future on creating your personal brand. So stay tuned. Anything you want to tell us about before we get out of here, Jess?
No, I think that covers it. I think there's a lot of good content today. So
I hope
get
so.
out
I
there
hope
and
so.
post.
All right, guys. Jess, thanks again so much, and we'll see everybody
Thank
soon. Bye.
Bye.